Caboose is one of the most iconic parts of American railroading, and is also probably one of the most famous parts of the train other than the locomotive. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at every single type of caboose in my O-gauge collection. Alright, the first kind of caboose we're going to be taking a look at is this Lionel N5. Lionel made this style of caboose from the late 1930s up until the late 1940s. This specific car here was made in 1946, and as you can see, it's very simple. It features mostly sheet metal construction with some die-cast metal trucks and such. Despite the fact that this is such a simple car, it's actually one of my favorite cabooses in my entire collection. This is a car I've wanted for a long time, because it's a very iconic car for the pre-war and post-war Lionel era, and it fits really well with some contemporary Lionel locomotives. Now this is not a scale car, this is a very small 27 car, but it has this very classic look to it, and because of that I really like it. Now this caboose is based off of a Pennsylvania Railroad prototype. It even has the Pennsylvania Railroad type on the side of it. And it's kind of a very traditional caboose. It's got the center-mounted cupola and that bright red color that many associate with the caboose look. So again, a very iconic kind of standard-looking caboose, but one that I find really interesting. The style of caboose we're going to be taking a look at are these Lionel SP style cabooses. This style of caboose was first made in the 1940s during the Lionel post-war period, and has been made pretty much ever since. This is probably the most ubiquitous style of Lionel caboose. It has been in hundreds of thousands of train sets ever since its first release, and has been in tons of different road names, but the most common of which is the Lionel 6017. In fact, you can see 3 Lionel 6017s on the track right now. One on the top, and then the 2 right here on the bottom, and as you can see, they're in a couple different colors. Again, these cabooses have been made in tons of different liveries and all sorts of colors over the year. 4 of them on the layout right now are post-war, the 3 on the bottom row, and then 1 up there. And I also have a Southern NPC SP style caboose, which is actually from my first train set. Now these cabooses vary wildly in construction and features and such. As you can see, the caboose up there has a separately applied smokestack. None of the others do. Some of them are lighted, some aren't. In fact, during the post-war period, Lionel even made an SP style caboose with a functioning smoke unit in it. So this style of caboose is again one of Lionel's most iconic and famous, and because of that there are tons of them out there. Next type of caboose we're going to be taking a look at is the N5C type of caboose. Now, the original N5C, it was a caboose made by the Pennsylvania Railroad, which is unique for its porthole windows and kind of streamlined styling on the roof. Because of that, it's actually a very unique caboose style, and it's also one of my favorites. Now, Lionel has been making the N5C caboose since the mid-1950s during the post-war era, and has again continued to make them ever since. Now, the caboose on the left, the Canadian Pacific, that was a part of my Lionel 1973 service station set during the NPC era, and on the one on the right is actually very modern. That is from my Lionel SP Rising Sun train set from 2018. So again, it goes to show Lionel's been making these cabooses for a long time. Now, Lionel has made these in many road names, some prototypical Pennsylvania ones, and some not so prototypical, such as the Canadian Pacific and Southern Pacific. Lionel has also made scale N5C cabooses, but these are much different than these cabooses here. These cabooses also differ greatly, again, in construction and such. The Canadian Pacific caboose that you can see is actually lighted. The SP one is not, but I have modified it to be able to be lighted if I need to. Again, see, these are some of my favorite cabooses in my collection because of the very unique streamlining and such on them. And the Southern Pacific caboose is one of my favorites because of that beautiful daylight paint scheme. So again, these are some really nice cabooses that Lionel has made for a long time. This next caboose is one of the most unique type of cabooses. This is a work caboose. Now, Lionel produced these again from the late 1940s up until pretty much they continue to produce them today. These cars are also pretty much always paired up with a crane car. That's kind of why it has this open deck. Now, these cars go by a number of words. Some call them boom cars, some call them work cabooses, lots of different car type of names. Lionel's also, again, produced many different styles of these, some with die-cast frames, some with different kind of beds here, some with different cabs, and various other things. Again, Lionel produces these to this day, and they're one of my favorite types of cabooses simply because they're very unique. They always look good paired up with a crane, and again, Lionel has made these in a much nicer scale version, which are much more realistic. The next kind of caboose that we're going to take a look at are these bay window cabooses. Again, a very unique design of caboose. Lionel first produced the bay window caboose in the 1950s, and has again continued to produce them since. Now, the bay window caboose served to kind of rectify an issue that railroads were having. As freight cars got larger, they obscured the view of the cupola that were traditionally mounted on top of cabooses. So instead of making the cabooses taller, they actually made them wider. That allowed crew members to see around the train by looking down the side of the train instead of looking above, and it solved the issue of cars getting taller and blocking the view of these cars. So these represent a bit more of a modern prototype, but are still fitting in a number of eras. As you can see here, I have a few different road names represented, all from different eras. Up top there, I've got a Seaboard caboose that was from a train set from the 1980s. Then down below, I have 2 modern cabooses. One is a New York Central caboose, which is part of a set with a steam locomotive, and the other is a New Jersey Transit caboose, which is meant to replicate a pretty modern set. So again, a wide variety of road names and time periods and stuff. Now these are some of the higher quality Lionel cabooses I have. They've got all metal trucks, they're lighted, they've got separately applied detail, and they look really nice. Alright, now we've come to the last type of caboose in my collection, the extended vision caboose. Now this car represents a very modern prototype. These type of cars would have come into use, I believe, in the 1970s and stuff, and Lionel started making these around the 1980s, I believe. This car kind of combines the aspects of a regular cupola caboose as well as a bay window caboose. As you can see, the cupola itself actually sticks out a little bit from the car, providing some of that wide vision, as well as sticking up tall, providing, again, a tall sight. So that kind of allows it to serve kind of dual purpose. You can see over the roofs of certain cars, while also being able to see around those really tall cars. Again, this represents a modern prototype, first originated in the 1980s and such, and so it's a great pairing for a lot of modern sets. The road name on this and livery on this car specifically is Norfolk Southern, and it's part of my Norfolk Southern First Responder set, hence the unique road name. And again, it's a very nice quality and unique looking car. It's got lots of separately applied detailing, metal trucks, and is lighted. So again, one of the nicer cars in my collection, and a nice modern caboose to end off the set. Alright, I hope you enjoyed taking a look at all the different types of cabooses in my collection. If you did enjoy the video, please leave it a like or comment. And if you want to see more train videos, check out my channel and subscribe if you like what I'm doing. Thanks.